Welcome to True Image Fitness.
Your resource for lifestyle, fitness, and motivation.
Here is your host, the guru of motivation,
The Sultan Positivity, Mr. Strict.
Vance McDaniel.
What's up, fitness family? This is Mr. Strict coming at you from True Image Fitness Studios. Anyway, so today we're going to start with part one of a new series on diet and nutrition. And before we get into the nitty gritty, as it were, I want to talk to you all a little bit about fitness and nutrition, what's happening in America, and where we stand as a nation. Because I think that really the culture of food and the lack of actual education in nutrition and fitness in our country has really lent itself to where we are. Where are we? 39% of men over age 20 are considered obese. 40% of women over age 20 are considered obese, and that's with a BMI of 30 or higher. Now, that doesn't include the people who aren't in the obese range, but who are overweight, out of shape, and sedentary. So think about it. 40% is not too far from 50%, which would mean half of our population, about 330 million Americans. We can get rid of some of the kids, like I said, over age 20. But let's just include that, okay? Half of 330 million? That's over 150 million people who are out of shape or obese. That's a huge part of our population, which is one of the reasons supplements and diet pills and exercise programs is such a huge market. The problem is, why is it that this is such a huge market? And it's been a huge market for a very long time. Why has that level of the availability of programs to get in shape, to be healthy, why hasn't that not curbed our obese and overweight problem? It's because our culture centers around food and has really no focus on education. But yet it's a multi-million-dollar industry. When people work out and train with me, after about a year, they don't need me anymore. They've learned enough in order to go on and lead a healthy lifestyle. At that point, I'm looking for new people to work with. Now, there's plenty of people to work with, so that's not hard to find. But you should not be on a program for year after year after year. It means you've learned nothing. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to be doing this series, because people do not understand what it means to not only change your lifestyle, but how to change your lifestyle and do it in a way that it is sustainable. I want to give you an example. Person A comes to me at 200 pounds and they are over 30% body fat. They've got love handles. Their midsection is protruding over their belt line. And they're looking at person B over here who's 200 pounds and they tell me that they want to look like that. Now, a person that they want to look like is 200 pounds, six-pack, nice arms, shoulders, not overly muscular, but defined, athletic, and fit, 200 pounds. They're both eating 4,000 calories a day. They're both eating 4,000 calories a day. Person A, who's at 30% or more body fat, who wants to look like person B, says, how come that I eat the same amount of food as person B, or the same amount of calories as person B, but I don't look like person B? I go to the gym, I work out, the whole 9 yards. I do cardio, but I don't look like person B. I guarantee you that if I sit down and talk to person A and I look at what their macros are, and we'll talk about that in a second, I'll find that they're eating high sugar, high carbohydrates, maybe high fat, and maybe moderate protein. But their carbohydrates are going to be so high that they're not able to control their body composition. I can take person A, leave them at 4,000 calories, completely change their macros, write out their program for working out, have them follow that for 3 months, 4 months, and they're going to be closer to person B after that time. Not changing their caloric intake at all, but just by changing their macros. Now, what are macros? Macros, large. Macronutrients, large nutrients. What are the large nutrients? Carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Okay? So, by changing the percentages of those things and matching with a certain level of activity, I can transform your body without putting you into a caloric deficit, without putting you on a diet. Now, some people are 120 pounds overweight. They need to go to a caloric deficit in order to get down to a safer weight, a healthier weight. But once they get to a certain point, then the same thing's going to happen. We're going to change those macronutrients so that we are focusing on lean muscle mass versus body fat, okay? The difference in the type of nutrition program you decide to go on will be determined by where you are starting and what your goals are. Sometimes those goals will be dictated for you based on where you are. For some people, athletes, people who are mildly unconditioned, people who are only 10 or 15 pounds overweight might have a different choice. But the bottom line is, if you are only focused on losing weight, you are already starting off in the wrong place. You should be focused on losing body fat, maintaining lean muscle mass, if not gaining lean muscle mass. And ladies, please don't think you're going to get bulky if you go and work out. For the women that you see with tons of muscle, trust me, they work super hard at it. It is not an accident. For a bodybuilder like myself, okay, these arms take work, nutrition. I have to work at it. If I fall off, I lose size. I start to drop muscle mass. Your body sheds protein all the time, expecting for that protein to be replaced. If you are at a calorie deficit, you will become catabolic and your body will break down protein for glycogen in order to get energy. You will be tired. You will feel fatigued. All kinds of little things happen, which is why certain types of fasting aren't necessarily the best way to go for certain people, or knowing when to cycle those types of fasting cycles, or low carb cycling. There are ways to do things, but if your focus is simply on weight loss and all you're looking at is how the scale drops, I guarantee you some of that weight loss is muscle loss. Now, muscle loss means what? Okay? Remember I told you about the 4,000 calorie a day person and the 4,000 calorie a day person over here? This person over here who's more muscular has a higher metabolism, a higher daily metabolism than the person over here at 4,000 calories who is unconditioned and overweight, which is why I didn't have to change that person's numbers and put them on a workout program to gain muscle. Because what's going to happen is that person's metabolism is going to change too. At some point in time, I might have to increase this person's calories in order to maintain the muscle and lean body mass that they get. This person over here was eating 4,000 calories and maintaining a lean body, right? But if that person were just to drop their calories a little bit, based on the fact that they're probably at their set point, they would start to drop weight immediately. And most people, especially bodybuilders and fitness people, they don't want to lose that kind of weight because they start to eat into their muscle. So you've got to understand that when you eat up muscle because you're dieting improperly, your daily metabolism goes down, which means your caloric requirement goes down. You have to eat less food, okay, in order to avoid gaining weight. That's why you want to maintain muscle mass in order to keep your daily metabolism high so that your daily caloric requirement stays high. If that drops too low, then what happens is, man, I'm eating and I'm gaining fat, but probably because you're not watching your macros correctly. So there are little nuances that you really need to understand, and we're going to be going into that over the next week. The first thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to dive deeply in the next video into macros, macronutrients and micronutrients, and how you really need to understand them in order to program your nutrition correctly, and how those numbers change as your body composition changes. You can't just keep doing the same thing and jump on the scale every week and watching a number go down. Okay? There are proper ways in order to drop body fat, in order to transform your physique into something that's lean with low body fat. If your focus is just dropping weight, you're already at a loss. So we'll be talking about in the next video. In the meantime, look forward to my next video. If you haven't subscribed, go to True Image Fitness on YouTube if you're watching this on Instagram, and click subscribe and click that little bell up there so you receive notifications. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, please click subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow. And click on that little bell over there in order to receive notifications. Get up, get out, get moving, do something good for yourself. Hang loose and stay fit, and I'll talk to you soon.